Buying cars.
So buying cars has been really
Thoughts?
interesting. Oh, it's been an interesting market. We went from cars being dirt cheap but none around. But we were buying cars, and when their businesses are closed, it's law of demand. When there's no demand, prices go down. When there's a lot of demand, prices go up. So as some dealers were forced to have to completely shut down, there was less car sales, and obviously, with the stay-at-home orders, all of a sudden the cars that were going through the auctions were very, very cheap. They were going for below market value. You can get some good deals. The problem was that there weren't a lot of cars going through there, and yet here's the funny situation. Yet there's a lot of cars sitting at the auction. So a lot of lenders, a lot of the big guys, Ford Motor Credit, the big guys, even the auctions themselves. They're just holding the vehicles and not releasing them, letting them just sit there, letting for this to ride out. Which maybe it's a smart move on their part, but it did make it difficult to find cars. But when you did find a car, you can get a great deal on it. But in the last 10 days, 14 days, they have not released a lot of cars, even though they have a lot sitting there. And now that dealerships are back in business for the most part, most of them are back to selling cars. The pricing of vehicles has gone up tremendously. We just, even today I was looking at what we bought at the auction today, and we were paying close to book or over book for a lot of vehicles that a week ago we could buy those cars for 2 weeks ago. We could buy those cars for $1,000 less, sometimes even $2,000 less than what we're paying today. So there's been just a big swing. It's gone both directions.
Do you think that there's any specific reason why this is happening?
So the market's really fluctuated, and one of the main reasons I think that we've seen the big fluctuation has been just because of supply and demand. You get the COVID-19, a lot of dealers shut down. There's not a lot of demand for cars, so cars are going to be a lot cheaper. Now their dealers are starting to buy again. A lot of them went through the vehicles that they had in their inventory, and they were scared to buy vehicles during the crisis because they didn't know what the future was. So their inventories were at a very low level. So now they're going back to the auction, and it's creating an increase in the cost. I also think, though, that some of the large manufacturers and even the large auction companies have a hand in it. If you drive down to go to the auction, you'll see so many vehicles parked there that there's nowhere to park them. I mean, they are completely full. A lot of rental companies have taken their vehicles down there. I mean, they're packed. So you got to wonder, why aren't they releasing all those cars and letting them go through? Well, they're probably being smart and trying to control the pricing of the vehicles in a way. And so I think so. Here we have things that are affecting the pricing of vehicles. A big chunk of it is just what's going on with the economy and the COVID-19. But I think another part of it is that the larger finance companies and larger auctions, because they're so big, they can actually influence the market by just deciding to slow down the sales. And it's something just to think about. I'll give you a good example. Like today, we bought some vehicles that we had to pay very, very close to the book, the auction value book, the Kelley Blue book. In this case it was Kelley Blue, but the auction value book. So we had to pay a book value for these cars. And then you got your fees, you got your transportation to bring them to the dealership. You might be another $500 to $1,000 in expenses just to get the car to the dealership. But then you look at the spread between wholesale value and retail value, and sometimes the spread's only $1,000. So now you're in the vehicle retail value, and consumers are coming in and saying, "Hey, what's the retail value of this car?" Well, heck, I haven't even safetied the vehicle and inspected it, where I might spend another $1,000 to $1,500. And now I'm in this vehicle $1,000 to $1,500 over a retail book, and customers are coming in, and where do you make your money? So if there's anything that I've always just not understood is, why some of these entities that are out there that provide consumers with retail value, why they don't leave a spread for profitability for the dealers. And they have to. And I have no idea where they come up with it, but sometimes you'll see big spreads on retail value, and sometimes you'll see no. And then the market changes so fast, but then the retail value doesn't change as quickly. So it makes it very difficult for a dealership to make money. And that wasn't the case, I've been this long enough that I can say this 15, 20 years ago, that wasn't the case. you had a bigger spread. You can actually make some money. Now it's just become very, very difficult. And sometimes you'll see that maybe there's someone selling a vehicle out there for less than what you're paying for at the auction. And you got to wonder, like, what's wrong with that vehicle? How can they buy the vehicle, inspect the vehicle, have it transported, do everything that what a traditional dealer does, and offer it to the consumer for less than what a dealer could if they went to go buy it at the auction? And that just makes it tough. It makes it tough. And I know all independents, the guys that go through and they do the right process, they go through and they inspect the vehicle, and they spend real money on the car, making sure that it's safe for the consumer. And they do all the compliance like we do, using your tablet, but, making sure that we acknowledge anything that the vehicle has. We go through the whole process. That all costs money. It's not free.
Mm-hmm.
So here we do all these things, and then there's just not enough markup there to really make money. But then you might have other players that other dealers that are out there, and they're not doing any of the compliance. I don't know where they're buying their cars, and all of a sudden they're offering it to the consumer for cheaper than you can buy it at the auction. And it seems really unfair. And it's just something that you just happening, and I really don't know what can be done. So I think it's a tough problem to solve.